The word heart is used nearly 1,000 times in the Bible, where it predominantly refers figuratively to the seat of thought, emotion, and will. Now, note such expressions as the thoughts of your heart, love God with all your heart, obey from the heart. Vine's dictionary says it came to stand for man's entire mental and moral activity, used figuratively for the hidden springs of the personal life. Peter sees it as the hidden person in 1 Peter 3 and verse 4, the real person, hence who one really is, and this may signify either a good or a bad character. Well, when God sought a people from among the Israelites, he looked for those who would circumcise their hearts and be stiff-necked no longer, Deuteronomy 10:16. Paul expands this to the Romans as he wrote, "He is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not of the letter," Romans 2 and verse 29. Notice he's not saying letter obedience is unimportant, but when it is letter only and not from an honest heart, thus not truly representing our innermost feelings, then it's hypocritical and maybe stiff-necked rebellion against God. It's little wonder that Jesus said that the first and greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, Matthew 22, verses 37 and 38. While heart, soul, and mind do have meanings independent of each other, Jesus pulls them together here to say that our love must be genuine, from the very depths of our being. Again, in Romans 2 and verse 29, and also Romans 7 verses 18 through 25, the inward man, his will or his mind, are ways of identifying the spirit that is within man. Paul acknowledges two laws in himself. First, the urge to satisfy the flesh versus this spirit, meaning his will, his mind, or the inward man. And this spirit desires to do the will of God. So through the mercies of Jesus Christ, he can say, I serve God with my spirit in the gospel, Romans 1 and verse 9, and I serve the law of God with my mind through Jesus Christ, Romans 7:25. Paul understood that to be carnally minded, meaning yielding to the desires of the flesh, meant certain spiritual death. But he thanked God through Jesus Christ that to be spiritually minded is life and peace, Romans 8 and verse 6. Now, Paul did not claim to be sinless. He acknowledged sin in his life, stating, I am carnal, sold under sin. For what am I doing? I do not understand for what I will to do. That I do not practice, but what I hate, that I do, Romans 7 verses 14 and 15. But also, he says, I do not understand, or as the King James says, I allow not, and I hate. He tells us here that he was struggling with sin, the temptation to give in to those sins. No, the Apostle Paul did not have a carnal mind or a worldly will about him or a spirit that reveled in sin. His desire was always to do right. And that tells us that he went humbly to God for forgiveness when sin did occur. In fact, such a spirit or attitude is essential if we are to gain access to the throne of mercy. Friends, we want to thank you for joining us for our program today. We pray that you will give serious thought to these things that we've discussed, and that God will bless you with a wonderful day.